important to pay off the euro bond so that, to calm the market, because people are speculating. People are saying, you know what, the government is going to come and mop up all the dollars that are there in the market to pay off the euro bond. So everybody saying, let me hold on to mine so that I can cash out at the time that the government comes to, to mop up the dollars to pay the euro bond. So what does paying the euro bond means is it sends a message to those speculators. Look, we're not going to do that. Please know what you do with your dollars. If you're holding your dollars with the hope that government is going to come and take them from you at a very good price so that we can pay the euro bond, it's not going to happen. So those guys who are holding the dollars have had no option but to offload them. Hence why the shilling is now taking a chip. Remember, those kind of speculations came at a time when the new governor of central bank, Dr. Kamau Dore, made a decision once he took over central bank from Patrick Yorobe to say that, that, I think I told you that,
So I've just joined YouTube. I was not on YouTube because I was having some problems with the internet. So for those of you on YouTube and on Facebook who just joined the stream and are wondering what is happening, this is the Black Hot Fire news update, and we have been looking at what has been happening throughout Africa, and we started with Kenya, where we were looking at what has been happening with the Kenyan shilling. We've been on for quite some time on the network, so you can check out the first episode of what we were talking about on the network. But now what we were looking at was what the former trade cabinet secretary Moses Kuria was talking about, what has led to the strengthening, to the sudden, because it's sudden, because if you look at the trajectory, it has been an upward one. So the cabinet secretary of trade was talking about, the former cabinet secretary of trade was talking about what has led to the sudden sudden gain of the Kenyan shilling against the US dollar. And he has said that the government has done nothing to, so I'm explaining this to the people on YouTube and on Facebook who are not with me as I started because of some network problems. So he has said that the government has nothing to do with the rise of the Kenyan shilling, and what has been happening is the shilling has been stabilizing on its own. So he said the only thing the government did was pay the Eurobond, and once it paid the Eurobond, then that brought about investor confidence, and now investors are more confident on what is on there are many investors who had bought US dollars and stored them in their houses with the hope that the government will come looking for the dollars so that it can pay the Eurobond, because the Eurobond is paid in dollars. So they thought that the government would come and look for the dollars to pay the Eurobond with, and there would be a shortage of dollars in the market, and therefore using the demand and supply equilibrium mechanics, then the dollar would be of higher value than the Kenyan shilling. So that was what they thought. But the government paying the Eurobond busted that bubble. Those are not my words. That is not my speculation. That is CS Moses Kuria's word. I personally said I don't know what happened with the I don't know why the US dollar, the Kenya shilling has been on a trajectory that it has been on. And let us finish with Moses Kuria.
As engagement that we were artificially supporting the shilling. We were spending close to $2 billion every year to supporting the shilling, artificially, so that we live in that sort of illusion that we are doing well or not doing well. You know what? Like we agreed to do on fuel, like we agreed to do on unga, on the currency, we also say, look, if it is weak, let it be weak. Okay. There's no point of makeup. Yeah. So what happened with that policy? The makeup fell off, and we allowed the shilling to.
So explain to me. The 20 point, it was 162 at one point.
Yes.
It fell down to 142 now.
Absolutely. Speculation. It was up because of speculation. Now what's going to happen? The shilling is finding its true value. And that is a wonderful thing about not fixing, exchange rates artificially. Because once the speculations end, now what is going to take over are fundamentals. And what you're finding now is that the true value of the shilling is going to be realized.
So what happens to Wanjiko? What happens to the border guy? How do you explain that to Mama Mboga in simple terms?
Mama Mboga is already aware, because Mama Mboga knew when it was up. I didn't have to explain. They knew it when it was up. Do I need to tell them when it's down? That's what Swahili people say. Mwenye macho haambiwi tazama.
Will that translate in their pockets going forward?
Absolutely, especially because of some of the imported goods. The people will not be very amused, of course, our exporters, our coffee people, our tea people, our horticulture people, those ones are not going to be very happy. Our gallant men and women in the diaspora and the efforts we're doing on health. So the sum total of all that is going to be good. But, I want to echo what the president said on for example, the fuel price was going up. Then fuel price started coming down. And people are clapping at him. I told them, stop clapping at me. It's not me. It's the market. So equally, I want to ask people, there's nothing that you've done fundamentally in 1 week. It is only that the market fundamentals are right. And what we promise Kenyans is never to lie to them. We promise Kenyans that we're not going to lie to you. You throw stones at us, you make noise at us. Ours will be just to tell you the truth and tell it again and again and again.
So the economy is rising on its own.
Rebound.
It's rebounding on its own.
Rebound. Absolutely rebound. We have been, this did not start last year. We've been on sort of 5, 6, 7 years of recession. And that's what the numbers are telling us. We've been on 7 years of recession. So what's happening now? From 7 years, starting to reverse it now, it is big news. You just need to look at what we released at the end of 23, the last quarter of 2023, in terms of the economic survey, where the economy grew at 5.9%. They are up from 4.1% in a similar period in 2022. Agriculture, 2022 was growing at negative 1.1%. Remember, we had the drought.
Yeah.
This last quarter, the one for Ed in 2023, agriculture grew by a whole 6.1%. Areas like hotels and food and beverages, all that grew by a whole 14%.
Right.
So things are really
They're looking up. They're looking up.
And they're looking up.
So that is the cabinet secretary Moses Kuria explaining, talking about the growth of the economy, which I don't know if it translates into if you look at it in reality, if it translates to the ground. But one thing is certain, the Kenya shilling has been on an upward spiral, and was just trying to explain why. So I don't know what to think about that. That is our discussion of the day. And you can tell me what you think about the Kenyan shilling rising. It has been rising over the past few days, gaining against the US dollar. Anyway, let us move to other news, where Kenya has waived entry fees for passport holders from South Africa and 6 other countries, following widespread criticism of the recently introduced $30 fee. The move aims to boost tourism and attract business travelers. Previously, all foreign passport holders were subjected to visa requirements, but the government's decision sparked backlash for potentially increasing traveling costs and bureaucracy. Exemptions now apply to passport holders from the following countries: South Africa, Ethiopia, Eritrea, Congo-Brazzaville, Comoros, Mozambique, and members of the East African Community Regional Bloc. San Marino, Europe's third smallest nation, is also another country that is on the exemption list. A memoranda from the Kenyan Interior Ministry and Immigration Department said that the exempted countries had entered a visa abolition agreement or signed bilateral visa waiver agreements with the East African state. However, travelers from these countries would still need to get an electronic travel authorization, that is the ETA document, which is valid for 90 days. So that is, several countries now will not. Previously, Kenya had this is not a new development, but the new development is that the old development was that Kenya removed passport requirements. It removed visa requirements for citizens from many countries. Kenya opened its borders to citizens from almost all the countries, and now all you needed was a passport to come into Kenya. However, people are required to pay $30 in fee, and people are still required to pay that. Exemptions apply only to citizens. So according to the new update, exemptions now only apply to citizens from the following countries: South Africa, Ethiopia, Eritrea, Congo-Brazzaville, Comoros, Mozambique, and members of the East African Community. So that means for somebody like General Mosquito from Ghana, he will still have to pay $30 in fees. That is in visa fees for him to come to Kenya and eat ugali. And he's asking me, I see you got a new show. Are you still doing the Saturday show? Yeah, I'm still doing the Saturday show. This is just a 30 minutes update of what has been happening throughout Africa. It comes every day from 7 to 7:30. Today we were a little late because of course we had internet problems, but we are back. So that is what has been happening in Kenya, with now the visa requirements being, the visa charges being removed. So if you're from those countries right now, you just need to get on a plane and come to Kenya.
Traveling to South Africa visa-free. Citizen TV did a spot check on that route using Kenya Airways, who are launching a new in-flight menu for its business and economy class, and View Travel that has reported a boost in travel on the South African route. So what does it look like to travel visa-free? Our Willis Raburu found out.
It's a few minutes to take off. Meals are being loaded on this KQ Flight 762 bound for Johannesburg, South Africa. The captain and the crew share some last-minute thoughts. KQ has launched its new in-flight menu and is keen to have customers get a taste and a sip of pleasure and delight.
Like a beef I've cooked it in a technique that we are calling sous vide technique. This is under vacuum cooking. Under vacuum cooking, the product takes about, like a beef took about 15 hours cooking.
The trip takes us all the way to Johannesburg, South Africa, a country that now enjoys visa-free travel with Kenya. I'm keen to take a taste of the food, and I can tell you the beef is absolutely amazing. And I'm not the only one. You see, the plating service involves the introduction of table service with hot meals plated on board in the galleys by crew trained by 5-star chefs for flights above 7 hours. Rectangular casseroles lined on a rectangular base plate to proper round dinner plates.
My name is Ndulela Kanga.
Ndulela is part of this flight. She is a business lady who says that the visa-free regime has brought with it substantial change.
And we had to prepare for at least 7 to 10 working days before we get the e-visa uploaded. It was a very big inconvenience to business partners. We can move freely within African countries for the purpose of business. So I would say it needs to remain. Please don't bring it back.
Stakeholders in the business say that having visa-free arrangements with South Africa have seen a bump in the numbers.
See, our aircraft is almost full. So the load factor is increasing. We can see that. And that's why we're increasing the number of flights as well. It's already been announced just 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago. I think they are also benefiting out of the visa-free entry to South Africa, because it also increases the number of guests approaching South Africa, and as a state is also benefiting out of the visits and the tourism between the two countries.
Cheti cha kusafiri wanga kinaleta ngumu kidogo kusafiri, kwa sababu lazima uende pale utafute ukae siku kama 2, wiki moja, wiki 2, hata mwezi kabla upate. Na wakati kuna wanabiashara wengi tunapata opportunities, unakuwa na kitu inaitwa cross border trade.
By the time you touch down, what is left now is to go through the designated spots. What would have been a longer queue is now just a sign that says visa-exempt countries. Once you go through there, you are in Joburg, South Africa. KQ now flies there 4 times a day and 2 times to Cape Town, and has made a promise to Kenyans. And from View Travel, there's much more to come as well.
Travel is not just tourism. We have business travel, we have medical.
So that is what has been happening with Kenya. That was just a short clip showing that the visa-free travel is working for real. It is not a lie. You know, the governments lie too much. So this one is true. It's working. But people are still required to pay $30 in facilitation fee for the visa. And General Mosquito says Kenya can kiss my Ghanaians ass. Do we want free visas too? Come on. Now you need to stay in Ghana, General Mosquito. We don't need Ghanaians in Kenya. But anyway, I hope the president will open up the borders to, I wish he had opened up the borders to African countries alone. and especially I've never seen the sense of me needing a visa to go to a country. Like if I want to go to Gambia, me needing a visa to go to another African country has never really made sense to me. However, the president did not only exempt African countries, he also exempted San Marino, which is Europe's third smallest nation. So people from San Marino can also come to Kenya for free without paying anything. All they need to do is get an ETA, that is an electronic transfer authorization from the internet. So enough with Kenya, let us now head to Ghana, where Ghana is closer to passing an anti-LGBTQ bill that, so apparently the news is Ghana is moving closer to passing a bill that would crack down on LGBTQ rights totally. Ghana's parliament on Wednesday moved a step closer to holding a vote on a bill that seeks to further clamp down on LGBTQ people, rejecting a proposal that would have seen jail terms of gay sex replaced with non-custodial sentences such as counseling. So there was a bill that wanted to replace jail terms to non-custodial sentences such as counseling, and the people of Ghana, shout out to them, rejected it, and now looks like they're going to clamp down LGBTQ completely in Ghana. A coalition of Christians, Muslims, and Ghanaian traditional leaders have sponsored the legislation, which is favored by most lawmakers. It would punish the promotion of rights to those who are, it would punish those who are lesbian, gay, or non-conventional sexual or gender identities with up to 10 years in prison. Gay sex is already punishable in the West African country by up to 3 years in prison, and that would rise to 5 years under the bill. Ruling party lawmaker Alexander Afenyo Makin withdrew his proposal amendment after it was rejected on Wednesday. He had argued that imprisoning people for LGBTQ offenses would worsen homosexuality and its promotion, which he said would defeat the bill's original intent. The bill, one of the harshest of its kind in Africa, will now be fine-tuned for a vote in parliament. If approved, it would require presidential assent to come into force. Of course, President Nana Akufo-Addo has not confirmed if he would sign the bill into law. I doubt he will. However, promoters are seeking to have the bill passed by March. So the parliament is going to debate and vote on the bill, which I know they'll pass because they're the ones who rejected the other one. So now it's to look and see if President Nana Akufo-Addo will do what President Museveni did in Uganda and sign the bill into law that will see now the jail term for LGBTQ people moved from 3 years to up to 10 years. So that is what has been happening in Ghana. And the Prime Minister, but so there was an interview between the MP who had sponsored that bill, an interview that really cracks me up every time I watch it, and I wanted to share it. An interview of the minister, a certain MP from Ghana had an interview with CNN's Larry Madowo on the proposed bill. You know, Larry Madowo, of course, working for the CNN, was on his case, asking him why he was pushing the anti-LGBTQ bill in Ghana, and this is how the interview went. It is a very funny interview that I love watching. It shows me that some Africans, especially from the West African countries, are the ones that are leading in the liberation, and Uganda, of course. It shows me that some African countries can still stand up and not just be yes sir type of countries, because that is what most countries are.
Bill that would legalize hate and homophobia in Ghana.
A very good afternoon to your viewers, and I do not understand what you mean by pushing a bill that would legalize hate and homophobia. It's a bill to promote human sexual rights and then family rights. If another bill you're talking about, then maybe you've got the wrong man. But if you're talking to me about the bill I'm sponsoring in Parliament, is to promote proper human sexual rights in Ghanaian families.
What is Ghanaian family values in your mind, sir? What do you consider Ghanaian family values?
Article 39 of the Ghanaian Constitution is clear that the state shall take steps to inculcate the right Ghanaian values, customary values, into society. The Constitution of Ghana makes the states clearly that the National House of Chiefs is the custodian of Ghana's custom. This bill is supported by the Ghana National House of Chiefs. Our fourth consultative forum, which was held in the Ashanti regional capital of Kumasi, was actually sponsored by the National House of Chiefs. And the president of the National House of Chiefs spoke extensively at that conference, where Ghanaian culture forbids homosexuality. And so Ghanaian culture,
these members of the LGBT community we're speaking to are also Ghanaians. They are also Ghanaian. They are part of Ghanaian culture, and they're saying they're gay, they're transsexual, they're bisexual. They are also Ghanaians.
Some of the individuals who were involved in planning terror attacks in America are American citizens. Is it American culture to kill people?
That's a false. That's not the same comparison. But what I want to focus on here
is not the same comparison. You are telling me that because we have people who are carrying out an activity that is illegal per our laws already, and our culture frowns on it because they are found in our jurisdiction, that is our culture.
There were many things that were illegal.
Larry Madowo was trying to be slick, but Sam George, the Ghanaian MP, is totally destroying him and all his logics.
Honorable MP, there are many things that were illegal, that were unjust, and those laws were changed because they are unjust.
Well, laws are a reflection of society. Until 1960, American society did not find women fit to vote. And so women did not vote then. When they found them fit to vote, society evolved. Society evolves. At this point in time, the Ghanaian society is in a position where it says it is not welcoming of homosexuality. And any other person must respect the views of Ghanaian society. The CDD, which is a far-right, liberal think tank here in Ghana, carried out research which was published on the 1st of July. In fact, the academics who have sent in a memo against this bill have two of their fellows, the CDD's fellows in there, the Center for Democracy in Ghana, Democratic Development. They've been clear. Ghanaians are 97% tolerant of Ghanaians of different ethnicity, 94% tolerant of people of different religion, 91% tolerant of persons of different political persuasions, 71% tolerant of migrants and foreigners, but only 7% tolerant of homosexuality. That is the system, that is the society of Ghana.
What's your reaction to the members of the LGBT community, sir, that we've been speaking to, who tell us they're afraid for their lives when this bill passes, if this bill passes, that they're afraid to even leave their homes?
Well, anybody who is engaged in an illegal activity should be afraid of the law, shouldn't you? Then there will be no essence of law. But let's be clear about this. The United States in 2021 remains the most dangerous place for homosexuals. As of June 2021, an independent story, a story run by the Independent.
Sir, this is not about the United States. This is
Larry Madowo was so confused. Our General Mosque need to vote this Sam George guy in for president or something.
This is about Ghana. This is about Ghana. So I want to focus on Ghana, sir. Hang on. Let me ask the question. Let me ask you the question, sir. This is about Ghana. You are, as part of this bill, legalizing conversion therapy, which UN experts consider torture. Do you believe that homosexuality can be medically treated?
Well, tell me how individuals who are born men and decide to become women.
That's not an answer. Do you believe that people can be cured of homosexuality by some sort of treatment? I apologize. We appear to have lost the MP Sam George. The connection is not that great. If we can.
We lost Larry, not the guy, because Sam George was out there destroying him. So the reason I shared this video for those who joined late was because we were talking about how Ghana has now, while other African countries are scrapping the LGBTQ rules, Ghana is strengthening them. So apparently now, before earlier on, the penalty was 3 years imprisonment, and now it has been raised to 10 years. That is, the Ghanaian parliament passed that bill and they're going to vote, and now it will be up to President Nana Akufo-Addo to sign that bill into law, which I doubt he will, but if he does, it will be a good step for Africa. That will be the second African country to have done that after Uganda. So let us look and see whether President Nana Akufo-Addo, whose term is almost coming to an end. His term comes to an end next year, if I'm not wrong, General Mosquito. His term comes to an end soon. So let us watch and see what is going to happen in Ghana. So you're going to follow this development, and I'm going to report after it has been taken to Parliament and it has been voted on what is going to happen. So that is what has been happening in Ghana. And let us now head to the Democratic Republic of Congo, where the Prime Minister Jean-Michel Sama Lukonde resigned on Tuesday, triggering the dissolution of the government. This is according to a statement from the presidency. Lukonde handed his resignation to President Felix Tshisekedi 8 days after the validation of his mandate as national deputy. He plans to join the parliament, and after being elected in the country's December poll as a member of assembly to represent the Kasenga district. So he did not resign because he wants to. He resigned because it is a legal requirement in the DRC that serving ministers are not members of parliament, which means he had to choose whether to remain a legislator or to quit or remain in government. So he chose the latter. So that is, today at least I'm reporting something, not deaths in DRC, because I'm sure I've been reporting deaths every day in DRC. So today, for the first time, I've only reported of something, somebody retiring, somebody resigning. And I don't know, it is the first time since I started doing the news update that I've not seen news of 15 people killed in DRC, 14 people killed in Kinshasa. That has been the news every day, with the rebel groups, but I'm coming there. And a big shout out to Kay Williams, who's also with us, and he says power bottoms is everywhere, and he says homosexuality is a practice. So shout out to Kay Williams. So let us now head to Nigeria, where former Nigerian head of state Yakubu Gowon, who was the founder, one of the founders of the Economic Community of West African States, what is called the ECOWAS, has called for the lifting of sanctions on coup-hit nations ahead of an emergency head of states meeting in the region. So this was one of the founders of ECOWAS. His name is Yakubu Gowon. He's the former president of Nigeria. So speaking in Abuja, Nigeria's capital, he said that ECOWAS was threatened with disunity. So the main reason for this was because we had the Sahel Alliance pull out of ECOWAS. And they said they pulled out of ECOWAS because of the many sanctions that had been imposed against them, and ECOWAS saying it does not recognize them as states. So they therefore decided, if you don't recognize us as ruling governments, then we are going to create our own independent alliance, a tri-state alliance. And that was why one of the founders of ECOWAS was calling for the sanctions to be removed, because apparently he does not want the three nations to pull out. So he said, and I quote, "I call on all West African leaders to immediately consider implementing the following measures: the lifting of all sanctions imposed on Burkina Faso, Guinea, Mali, and Niger. The four countries are ruled by transitional powers following military coups." That was my note. So I continue with the quote: "The withdrawal by Burkina Faso, Mali, and Niger of their notice to leave ECOWAS, the participation of ECOWAS 15 head of state in a summit to discuss the community's future security and regional stability." So the former Nigerian military leader from 1966 to 1975 is the last living witness to the creation of the regional political and economic union. He was at the table in Lagos with 15 other heads of state and government in May 1975 during the formation of ECOWAS, which I'm happy it's getting disunited. So Gowon appealed to authorities, to the authority of heads of state and government of the West African bloc, including leaders of Burkina Faso, Mali, and Niger, to reunite for peace and stability in the region. So he therefore called for leaders of the three states that want to form the Sahel Alliance to forfeit their plan of leaving ECOWAS and go back to the regional bloc. So they already know that they are going to lose once the Sahel Alliance pulls out of ECOWAS, because those are among the richest countries we have in the West African bloc, and therefore losing them is not something they want. That is why they've changed the tune. A few months ago it was, you either stop with the coups or we are going to send military intervention into your countries. But right now, it is, please come unite with us. We are going to lift the sanctions. Don't leave the bloc. So that was what has been happening in regards to Nigeria. Let us now head to DRC Congo again, where the United Nations today sanctioned 6 DR Congo rebel leaders. The sanctions leaders include the military spokesperson of the M23 rebel group, a general in the Democratic Force of the Liberation of Rwanda, that is the FDLR, and 2 senior leaders in the Ugandan armed group Allied Democratic Force, what is called the ADF. The UN has imposed an arms, a travel ban, and it froze the assets.
Let me button here, Demore, real quick. Let me button here real quick.
Okay, Keith.
And shout out to everybody. Shout out to everybody in the November. Demore gets done. Go on the network. Canvas and Joby will be on the network, and you guys don't do TikTok. They'll be going live on the network right after Demore. I want to say this. Listen here.
Mm-hmm.
The Nigerian military had nothing to do with building no ECOWAS. He's a bootlicking, buck dancing, broken ass coon. He's a liar. He had nothing to do with the Europeans created ECOWAS to keep African countries in check.
Mm-hmm.
And so with Niger and Mali and Burkina Faso leaving this fake organizations, they're upset because this loses another stronghold they have on African countries. These African countries trying to get some kind of freedom finally, real freedom. And this scares the hell out the Europeans. So now, I thought they remember ECOWAS sanction them, and ECOWAS don't go to war with African countries trying to get free. Now they're begging, oh, please don't leave ECOWAS. Don't leave this fake organization. Don't leave it. White Daddy's going to be mad at us if you leave it. And Mali, Burkina Faso, and Niger said, nah, we're cool. You do you. You do you. We're going to do us. We're going to do us. You do you. We're good. We're good. So that's what you see happening. All this fake, I'm really concerned. He's not concerned. The Europeans say, hey, get up, you old bootlick. You got some more age. He's probably about 80 years old. Get up, old nigga. Time to get out there, and we want you to sell us something. We want you to say how bad it is. And we're going to bring Niger back with love. Nah. I'm like, nope. I wouldn't go back to the AU, which is fake. I wouldn't go back to the damn ECOWAS. All of them completely controlled by Europeans. That's why you heard no AU mention nothing about the Congo, nothing about what the more he's talking about with Museveni and Kagame all in the Congo, killing people for the Europeans. You know what, AU ain't said nothing? Because they're backed by the Europeans. That's why that puppet ass nigga that's from Sudan, that's down the head of AU, hasn't said nothing. Because the Europeans pay is no good rabbit ass. Go ahead, Jamal, you got it.
All right. So that is Kid talking about, of course, what has been happening in
some general.
So let us now.
What are we doing? What are we doing with our brothers? Nah, you wouldn't say none of that shit in the beginning because you thought Niger and Burkina Faso and we're gonna buckle. Now that they said, forget you, fake ass Negroes, we're leaving. Now you jump out the closet. Hey, let's all come together and try to stop this and save ECOWAS. Nah, get your fake ass out of here, nigga.
Let us now head to Senegal, Keith, as we almost come to the end. So this is what has been happening in Senegal. So Senegal's Justice Minister Aïssata Tall Sall has announced the release of nearly 400 protesters from prison. They were arrested and imprisoned during the political demonstrations of March 2021 and June 2023. Macky Sall, the president of Senegal, did not indicate whether opposition leader Ousmane Sonko and presidential candidate Bassirou Diomaye Faye would be released. The
Can you imagine they had protesters locked up since 2021, which is a crime? But the white man's not going to say that. You know, his democracy. You can't lock up people protesting. That's according to any constitution, you have the right to protest bad governance. And so even the right to overthrow it. You have the right to even overthrow the government if it doesn't bend to your will. Because democracy, Tamori, is supposed to be the will of the people, not the will of the tyrant puppet. So, see, that in Africa, everything just don't work. Like, oh yeah, these don't apply to Africa. You know why? Because we white and we want to steal the resources and we don't want to get these Negroes nuts. That's why everything up is down, down is up. But shout out to Senegal again, trying to get free. All you puppets, I'm telling you, your day is numbered. Your youth are waking up, and it's gonna be scary. Your youth all know you're all no good. You know the main thing on TikTok is they all calling you finally with your puppets. They all seem to know, but the tribal shit ain't even working no more. He's part of my tribe. They're like, nah, forget that. He's a puppet. Things don't work. So I know you see it. You had the ex-president of Nigeria, good brother Jonathan, that his name was before Bahar, told you. You leaders' days are numbered. This is Nigeria, the biggest country in Africa. The president told you, you despotic Negroes, you better get your shit right. He's telling you. He said your days are numbered. Your youth are not stupid. No, the youth are not going to go back to sleep. They're going to get smarter. They're not going to get stupider. And always me to you. But go ahead, but you got it.
So that is what has been happening in Senegal. So most political demonstrations in Senegal have often resulted in arrests and death. The most recent one is the one that I reported last week, where 4 people died of a protest over the cancellation of the country's elections that are supposed to be held on Sunday. So Senegal was supposed to have elections on Sunday. Then Macky Sall woke up and decided that the elections would not be held on Sunday and they would be held on December. And that is, people came out to protest and the internet was cut down and people were killed and other people were arrested. So among the people arrested, I guess some of them will be released with the 4,400 Protestants.
And the only reason why they're doing this, family, these other protests, because they know the country's a powder keg. So you can't keep control. The African puppets are not going to be able to continue to do this as if they are like they've always done. Just lock people up. Oh, I just get to decide. We're not going to have an election day. You're not a king. You're voted in by us. See, but that's the scam. They say, no, Negroes, I'm not. The white man put me in power. And so we're trying to make sure we get I get another term to keep stealing, or I put another puppet in. And we didn't have our puppets ready. So, yeah, that's what it's about. So that's why the streets erupted in Senegal, because the Africans no longer going to be a moron and say, man, okay, he's getting another term. Okay, I guess that's what happens. Nah, they're not doing that no more.
Yeah, as I come to the end of the show, this has been the Black Hot Fire News Update on a night where Ghana toughened its LGBTQ rules from its LGBTQ penalty from 3 years to 10 years.
Kofi Dada Doodle not going to sign that tomorrow. They've already told his man, hey, nigga, you better not sign that bill. You know that, right? You know, I know, white daddy, I'm not going to sign it. I know my people are against it, but I serve you, white daddy. I serve you.
But
that's right.
The only reason that Okufu might sign this bill is because he's leaving power next year, and
he don't shoot. Leaving power don't mean nothing. They don't stop from putting a bullet in your head because you leave power. Because I told you what I wanted to happen tomorrow. Because that's right, you're leaving power, but I haven't left no bullets outside your head. so
it is also a night where the UN has issued travel ban for M23 leaders. It is also a night where the Kenyan shilling has continued to strengthen, and the government has said it has nothing to do with it. It is strengthening out of market forces, and it is also
that's a lie. It's strengthening because of those damn IMF loans they got. It's because market forces? Nah, because you got fake loans. Government is so, Jesus Christ. Can anybody tell the truth in any government?
It is also a night where Senegal released 400 prisoners. So that is all we had on the Black Hot Fire Network news. Joby is coming up with Kamlesh in a minute. literally in a minute. So for those of you who did not catch the start of this show on YouTube, it's on the network. I'll see you tomorrow on the Black Hot Fire News Update. I hope you enjoyed the rest of your night if you are from Kenya, and the rest of your day if you're watching from abroad. It's been a pleasure, ladies and gentlemen. Have a good day.
Family, go on TikTok. Those that don't, just go to the network on your download your app. That'll be on the TV section, or if you're on the website, it'll be on the show page. So much love, family. Good job, Demore. And realize, yeah, Kenya, don't think the Kenyan shilling's gonna stay up. You haven't built nothing, so your money's fraudulent. That's a loan from the IMF. So yeah, we don't know why. It's because of our good governance. No, and because you're good governance.
Enjoy the rest of your day, Keith.
You too, Demore.